Hi guys, welcome to this set of videos. These videos are going to be associated with the note set having to do with Chapter 1, Section 4 out of your textbook. This is going to be all about solving absolute value equations, and there are a couple of objectives or learning targets we have for you in this set of notes, things that you should be able to do by the time you get to the end of this set of videos. You need to be able to evaluate an expression involving absolute value, right? So we're going to go through absolute value, what it means, and when you're given an expression or an equation that has absolute value in it, how do you solve or evaluate those things? The second thing you're going to need to be able to do then is solve absolute value equations. We'll show you how to do that after we go through what absolute value means, a little bit about how it works. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it, keeping in mind those are your objectives for this set of videos, what you should be able to do when we get to the end. Like I said, this is all about absolute value, so let me highlight the important part here in this definition. The absolute value, which is just a straight set of brackets around a variable or number, whatever we're asking you to take the absolute value of. So absolute value of x. Oh, I'm sorry, hold up one second. I need my highlighter, not my pointer. There it is. There we go. The absolute value of x is the distance from x to 0, whatever that number x is, to 0 on a number line. Guys, when we're talking about distances, distances are never ever given as negative values. When you ask me, how far is it to the gas station on the corner? I'm not going to say, oh, it's -2 miles, right? We don't give distances as negative numbers. I would simply say it's 2 miles north, 2 miles south, 2 miles northeast, right? We give you some sort of cardinal direction, but the distance is always positive. Same thing here, all right? Exact same thing here. Absolute value will always be a positive number because it represents a distance. So here we go. There are two values when it comes to absolute value. There'll always be two numbers that are the same distance from 0, which means you're going to get the same answer even though you have two different inputs. And that's exactly what I'm trying to show you right here in this little diagram that I've got for you. In the first one, I want x to be 5, a positive 5. So I'm asking you to find the absolute value of 5. Well, how far is 5 from 0? Well, it's 5 units from 0. So the absolute value of a positive 5 is 5. There's 0 right there, and 5 is 5 units away from 0. In the second one, I'm asking you to find the absolute value of -5. Absolute value, -5. Well, -5 is how many units from 0? Well, when it comes to distance, -5 is also 5 units from 0. The answer is 5. And here's why absolute value is so interesting. Here I'm taking the absolute value of a positive 5. I get 5. Here I'm taking the absolute value of a -5. And yet I still get an answer of 5. And this is why it's going to be so awesome when we get to solving these equations. What I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to solve the absolute value of x is equal to 5. The problem is there's two numbers that work. I could plug in a positive 5, I'll get 5. I could plug in a -5, I'm still going to get 5. So how do you know which one I want? You don't. You're going to have to solve for both of them. Anytime you do an absolute value equation, you will be solving two equations. You must find me both solutions because you don't know which one I want. And there are two numbers that could be plugged in for x, a positive 5 and a -5. Later pages, when we get to solving those equations, I'll remind you of this, show you exactly how it works, man, this absolute value stuff is great. That takes care of everything on this page. Head on over to the next page. I'll meet you there.